Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ray Wiener, and you're
Lena Frank.
and we're here to introduce somebody who's very special, Janet Hamning, for the EFT MBA Business Spotlight. So first, welcome, Janet.
Well, thanks for having me today.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So let me just tell you a little bit about Janet. Janet was a massage therapist back since 1993.
Yeah.
Right? It's been a long time. And always, because I know Janet, understanding that there was a connection between mind, body, emotions. And if I understand it right, just serendipitously one day an email came to you talking about this thing called EFT, or emotional freedom techniques, or tapping. And it really gave you a direction. Understanding that connection between mind, body, emotions, and body really took you on a whole different course. And so now EFT practice, specializing on working with women and weight loss, is really what you do most of the time. And we're really here to talk to you about that and find out a little bit more.
Yeah. So welcome.
Great. Well, thanks. Thank you.
So tell us about. We'd love to hear like the origin story. How that was actually an email. How did you actually find out about EFT?
You know, it was really strange because I had heard through the years, people mentioning here and there through different classes about EFT, but nobody could actually tell me what it was about. And so one day I'm looking at my emails, and it was in the month of March. It has to be 4 years ago. And it's from the Tapping World Summit.
Okay.
And so I opened the email and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's about EFT. So, they do the little intro type of video, and he's like, focus on some kind of stress you have in your body. And I had had a neck pain for days. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try this. It's 3 minutes, 5 minutes of my life. So I did the whole process, and within 5 minutes, my neck pain was gone.
Fantastic.
And I thought, okay, this is something I need to look into. I immediately got on the internet and Googled classes for EFT, and there happened to be one coming up in May of that year in another suburb of Chicago. So I that day signed up for it. And that's how it all started. I went to level 1, and then a couple months later I went to level 2 and continued the whole process through certification. And so I've been certified in it for 2 years now.
Excellent.
Great. How did you make that transition? I mean, I was a massage therapist for years and a chiropractor. I know how I kind of saw and watched, understanding the connections that people were having between pain and physical distress in their body and emotions. Like, what was that process like for you, making that connection and talking with clients about that and starting to move into tapping?
Well, I have many long-term clients, regular clients, and I'd be working on them. And when you're working, doing body work, it's like any other thing. You're so close, and you get to know their stories. You hear their life stories, and you hear what the struggles they have through life. And they didn't seem to be getting any long-term relief from the massages. And then, you feel the body, and you feel the energy from the body when you talk about certain things, and you could feel it so tense up. And then I'm like, there's more to this. There's absolutely more to this of why they're not getting long-term relief. And so when I started researching, getting articles here and there in massage journals, it wasn't talked about a lot back in the 90s. And at least I never saw it. I was not privy to it. So when I started noticing all these things and I started researching it, I'm like, there's something to this. There's something to the energy in the body and the emotions we're holding on to that does not allow physical relief. And so the more I read and the more I went on the internet and of course, once I start researching it, I start getting more and more emails in about it. And because that's how the law of attraction works. And so I start getting more information about it. And I was fascinated by it, and just totally fascinated by it. And it's just been this great journey of mine, learning how our emotions are connected to our physical issues.
Yeah, and they certainly are a big part of what happens with weight.
And absolutely.
And so tell us about your journey and why you decided to focus on this particular arena.
Well, You know, my whole life I've suffered with my weight. It's just, you know, from when I was a child, it was always, I was overweight, and, you know, it was, you know, one of the best lines I remember hearing as a child was, "You'd be so pretty if you lost 20 pounds." You know, my relatives would say that, my mother would say that, my father would say that. Well, when you're a child, you're like, well, then I must not be pretty, because I'm not going to lose the 20 pounds just to be pretty. And so, you know, as you become an adult and you're still struggling with your weight and you're yo-yo dieting, and you're blaming yourself and you're feeling like a failure, and you're still hearing, you know, you're a little heavy, you really should take some weight off. You know, and how are you going to get a man if you're fat? And nobody's, you know, no man is going to want a fat woman. And, you know, you hear these lines over and over and over again. Well, of course, as an adult, you're like, well, I don't deserve that, because I still haven't lost that weight. You know, I'm still not thin, I'm still not pretty. So why would I deserve to have any of that in my life? Well, when I discovered tapping, I'm like, holy cow, this is amazing. I can actually lose those beliefs that I've had my whole life. And at one point in my life, it's probably 22 years ago, I was 70 pounds heavier. So I unfortunately didn't know tapping to lose that 70 pounds and get it under control. So I still struggled over 20 years, you know, to lose 70 pounds through, you know, trying different diets and exercising. And the more I exercise, the more weight I'm going to lose, and the easier this is going to be. And, you know, and then that brings you into unhealthy relationships, and, you know, it just starts tumbleweeding. So when I learned the EFT and how I could use it towards my food issues, and learn and be aware of when I was craving foods and when I would overeat and why I would put off exercise, and it was like, wow, I wish I had this 20 years ago, because my struggle may not have been as hard. So I decided, you know what, I need to help other women. I need to help other women, because you hear the stories over and over and over again from women. You know, come January 1st, I'm going to take that 20 pounds off. Come January 1st, I'm going to take that 30 pounds off. And next January, it's 35 pounds. And then they feel bad about themselves, and they feel like they've failed, and they're ashamed. And then it's like, well, why would I start this diet? It's never going to happen anyway. I can't do it. I have no willpower. You know, so I'm like, you know what, this is really a great thing to help other women realize that you can get that final 20 off, or you can get that 30 off. So, you know, the people, the women that are seem to be coming into this cycle of my practice seem to be like 45 and over, because those are the women that have been struggling with this for years, and they've heard their partners say, you're never going to get that weight off. Why are you even telling me you're going to try that again? Or they hear their children, their adult children now say, oh, Mom, you've been saying that forever. Just accept the fact you're going to be fat. So, you know, I hear all these stories and all these comments, and people just don't realize how that affects our beliefs, and how it puts blocks in our system and holds us back from doing the things that we really want to do.
Absolutely. So you work on all of those beliefs. You work on the patterns of eating, the stressors that have you turn to food. I also know that you're very passionate about exercise. And so that comes into play too. Like, how do you turn like lifelong resistance and like, I don't want to do that, and all of that, and the voice in your head tells you, you know, whatever, you're too old to get started on something like that. You really are able to focus on that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm an avid exerciser. You know, my friends and family, they not my family so much, but my friends kind of tease me and make a little bit of fun of me. They're like, can't you just take a day off? Well, I do. I'm at the gym, I don't know, 4 to 5 days a week. And trust me, there are many days I wake up at 4:45 in the morning tapping my way to the gym. Like, just keep going. Just keep going. You can do this. It's an hour and a half of your life, you know? And so, you know, it's it's not magic where I just tap and I go to the gym every day really happy to be there at 5 a.m. No, it's, we have to work at it, but the whole part about healing any aspect that we need healing in, and weight is no different. We have to learn how to love ourselves, and we have to love ourselves enough to care about ourselves to heal.
Yeah.
And that struggle with their weight their whole life, or since they've had children, you hear that a lot. A lot of it is because we've learned how to not love ourselves enough to care about ourselves to be healthy. Because it's not just about being thin. Yeah. It's about being healthy too. And it's about moving forward in life, because so many women and men, but women that I deal with, they don't move out of their careers they're unhappy with because they're so self-conscious about their weight. And, I'm going to go on an online person-to-person interview, and because I'm fat, they're going to think I don't know how to do this job.
Yeah.
So the weight has a lot to do with every part of our life, relationships and family and careers, and just that feeling of loving yourself enough to be alone.
Yeah.
And spend time alone, without feeling guilt and shame and being embarrassed because of your size. It's very effective.
Yeah, that's great. I want to ask you, how do you work with people? Where are you located, and do you see people in person, online? I know that you've run some groups and retreats. So tell us about all the offerings that you have.
Yeah, I have a studio in the western suburbs of Chicago in downtown Downers Grove, Illinois. And I do face-to-face sessions here. I hold workshops here. Actually, I have a EFT workshop coming up in a couple of weeks, and we're focusing on self-sabotage.
Right.
And so, these women come in for these workshops, and I hold them pretty regularly. And it's a great way to get started, especially when you don't know anything about tapping and you're kind of nervous. You're a little like, I don't know about this. The group setting, the workshops are a great way because it's a safe little pod, and it's a small group that I do. And it's safe to be able to be vulnerable, and it's safe to tell your story, and it's safe without judgment. And, so it's a great way for women to start if they don't want to jump right into a one-on-one session. But otherwise, I also hold one-on-one sessions on Zoom that you can schedule with me. I also do free 15-minute consultations, either on the phone or on Zoom, and we can just talk, and we can talk about what your goals are, and see if EFT would be right for you, and if I would be the right person for you to work with.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you have a fabulous new website that's beautiful.
I do.
Yeah, so tell us what the address people can check you out.
My new EFT website, it's www.nevertoolate-to-lose-the-weight.com.
Never too.
And building this website was quite the experience, because I actually had to put myself out there. I had to be vulnerable in this website to tell my story, and I had to tap a lot on it in order to get there, to be that vulnerable. But being vulnerable is such a strength, so I had to tap into that place to believe that it's a strength. And
Absolutely.
So it's a great website. I'm so pleased with it. And I'm trying to add blogs regularly to tell my story and to tell the story of the people that I work with. And the people, they give me permission. They're like, if I can help somebody else, please tell my story. Tell my story so that other women know they're not alone.
Yeah.
And that we have a common bond. So, it's a great website, and I'm just always making little tweaks to it and changes to it, but I really love it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we encourage you to go check it out. Never too late to lose the weight. Thank you so much, Jan, for being here, and keep up the amazing work that you're doing.
Well, thanks for talking to me today.